Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And we are really excited today. We are here to talk about the latest and most likely last of our Signed, Sealed, Delivered films. We are here to talk about Signed, Sealed, Delivered to the Moon and Back. And it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about. And I am film critic Grace Wagner, and Caroline's here.
Hey,
Yeah, how are you doing?
good.
Good. I think we should ask, since you haven't been on the podcast for a bit, what did you think of the When Calls the Heart finale,
I love the
season 12?
finale. I think it
Yeah.
was a good one. Like it ended how I thought it. Like towards the end, I was thinking maybe proposal, but the way it ended, I think it ended perfectly for
Yeah.
them. Like they're a family.
Yeah. I know. I really, really felt like they should have had him propose in that carriage because it's
Mm-hmm.
just getting absurd at this point. But overall, I was pretty happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
It was fun. Mm-hmm.
I should say at the beginning of this recap for this movie, like if you are hardcore postable and you want like the deep Easter eggs, really minutia analysis, I mean, I'm a fan, you're a fan, we're fans. I've seen them all. I enjoy them. It's one of the best things Hallmark's ever made. But we can't give that kind of like, I don't watch them every week like some postables, that kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want that kind of analysis, you should definitely check out our friends over at Deliver Me a Podcast. They're doing more of that kind of like deep dive minutia, analysis of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what we're really going to do here.
Mm-hmm.
So just wanted to say that up front. And how did you feel about the previous one, the letters one?
It wasn't my favorite, I guess, just because af after the two wedding movies, they were so good. It felt like this was like a letdown, and I didn't really like the letter like
No.
part of it, and the drama. I I didn't
I
really care for.
agree. I agree with you because so basically what it's pretty I think everybody pretty much agrees that they were going to end it to the altar. And I think that it's pretty clear that that was an intended finale. We have the
Agreed.
toast at the end, the big wedding, everything like that, right? And then 3 years later, through their campaigning and everything, they managed to get the Postables managed to get another movie. So
Mm-hmm.
2021, we get The Vows We've Made,
Yes.
and so this was Shane and Oliver's wedding, and
Mm-hmm.
To the Altar was Rita and Norman's wedding, and that was also clearly written so that it could be the finale of the show. Have them
Agreed.
walking off together. There's like a montage at the end of all the great memories, all that stuff. It was very, very clear. Well,
Mm-hmm.
the persistence of the Postables, bless their heart, then they get it announced that there's going to be two more movies.
Mm-hmm.
And what's ironic is so they tried to end it twice, and then I think I would be stunned if we get any more after this. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
I would be shocked. I don't think that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And then so then this movie, I think it will be the last one. And unless there's just like some insane turnaround with Eric, and
Mm-hmm.
I would find it extremely hard to believe that we would get another one. And they didn't leave it open. They didn't close it off
Yeah.
for this one. That's the
Yeah.
irony
Yeah.
of it all.
It didn't have the traditional ending, like,
Yeah, I mean they're kind of toasting the Yoo-hoo, but I think the
Mm-hmm.
fact that they didn't have the babies,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty clear that they were planning on having another one where they were going to
Yeah.
have the babies.
Yeah.
So,
Agree.
it's one of those ironies.
Ho, ho, ho! We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
But I agree with you about Three Letters. It's definitely my least favorite of the movies. It's not that it's bad. It has good things in it. I mean, you're never going to have like a bad Postables movie.
Yeah.
Just such a charming premise. So, I mean, previous to Three Letters, my least favorite was From Paris with Love.
Yeah.
And that's only because his ex-wife I found very annoying. But
I didn't like her either.
Yeah, like she's supposed to be kind of unlikable, but there's just a little much of her. Holly.
Yeah.
Holly was. So that's why that one was my least favorite. And then the one where they're testifying, I think that's 1 in a Million.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That one's a little boring, I think. It's not bad, but it's just a little. That would be my rank. We're definitely gonna have to do a ranking.
Oh yes,
for
that'd
sure.
be fun.
Now that we're wrapping things up, but anyway, the thing I didn't like about Three Letters, the reason why I think it's definitely by quite a bit the worst one, is that I was not that in love with the Charlie plot.
Yeah.
In The Vows We Made, the idea that Rita and Norman would basically like adopt this woman and bring her into their home and like kind of be a parents quasi parents to this child that she's going to have, that seemed a little crazy to me. Like they barely knew her. And I mean, I know that Norman comes from foster family roots, so it makes sense, I guess, a little bit, but it just all felt so rushed, and I just didn't love that plot. So then to make her the focus of the next movie, and the letter all about her, it just, even though I love Rhiannon, it just was not my favorite.
Solid.
It was not. I was like, I hope they kind of forget about Charlie, and then they kind of leaned into it.
Yeah, they did lean into it, didn't they?
Yeah.
The baby is cute though.
Sure. And there were nice moments in that one, but yeah, it also could just kind of gotten to the mechanics of both relationships and spent more of the time on that versus the letter. So that one I do think is the weakest by quite a bit.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah. So going into this one, I didn't really know what to expect. Because I had sort of mixed feelings about the about Three Letters, and I would say this one is a lot better than Three Letters. A lot. Yeah. So we'll dive into it, but the summary is the Postables are given a letter found in a former nightclub that takes them on a trip to find the writer hiding from a troubled past. Meanwhile, Oliver learns more about his birth father while wrestling with his own approaching fatherhood. So you overall, you enjoyed it, movie?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't like some of the drama with Oliver and his dad, like, but I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think they maybe spent a little too much time on it. But at the core, it is kind of a interesting question. Like, is it right to show, what was the right call to show the letters or not show the letters? You know, like what, I don't know. So there was some like interesting stuff there, but yeah, it was probably a little heavy-handed, I would say.
Because my mom was adopted at birth, and like I was really close to my grandma, my mom's mom, and like the thought of like her not being like biological, like I never really thought of that. She was always my grandma, you know, and like I don't have the same connection to the birth family like I do like her family. So I guess it hits me differently.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just think that I guess I feel like he should have let Oliver know that the
Mm-hmm.
letters existed and that he was
Mm-hmm.
loved
Yeah.
by his father. And I think you could have said that that I'm going to give him to you when I think you're ready, or like
Yeah.
the, because I've said this before on the podcast, but like I think that it, I mean, I'm not a parent, so what the heck do I know? But it seems like to me that it would never be in the wrong interest of a child to give them more love.
Yeah.
Like obviously you don't want a toxic individual to be in their lives. But if
Mm-hmm.
it's somebody who's just going to love them, and this is somebody loving from beyond the grave, so it's like I just
Yeah.
don't see how him feeling more loved by his father would be a
Mm-hmm.
bad,
Yeah, that's true.
you know? And you don't have to give him
Mm-hmm.
all the letters because I mean, the whole point of the letters is to space them out, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But you
Mm-hmm.
give him one of the
Yeah.
letters just so he knows, like, I was loved,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know?
when my mom like she turned 18, my grandma was like, "Do you want to know like any information?"
Yeah.
And so my grandma gave her the chance. And mom was like, "I don't want to know anything."
Yeah. And but
So
she knew she was adopted, right?
yes.
Okay. My friend, my friend at Tsuko, she's from Japan. So she found out when she was getting ready to get married
Oh,
that
whoa.
her parents were
Mm-hmm.
actually her aunt and uncle.
Oh,
That
wow.
that who she thought were her aunt and uncle were her biological parents.
Whoa.
Can you
Whoa.
imagine?
I can't imagine.
Yeah. Well, like the crazy thing too is that I guess because she was marrying a man, I think from Argentina, a
Mm-hmm.
Latino man. And at the time, because she's a bit older than me, my friend, and that was still kind of like you're marrying somebody from a different race and different, culture,
Yeah.
whatever. There was some,
Mm-hmm.
so she tells her parents this, and they're like, "Well, you're not actually our daughter." So
It didn't just come up. It didn't come up in any conversations
no,
over the last.
you can marry whoever you want because you're not actually.
Oh my gosh. And she was
Yeah.
like probably shocked.
I
Oh my
can't even
gosh.
imagine. Like if I ever like develop, I told her this, that if I ever develop my screenwriting to a competent
There
level,
you go.
I want to make a movie about her life because she has
Yes.
seriously had the most fascinating life because she was a Japanese woman married to it's either Argentina or Venezuela, I can't remember, but and finds out she's been adopted and
That's crazy.
yeah, really very interesting person anyway. But yeah, I think that him letting his son know that he was loved, I just don't see
Mm-hmm.
how that. I get the worry about being compared to this
Mm-hmm.
sort of perfect, this person
Yeah.
who could be perfect because they're not there, but I still
Mm-hmm.
think the downside of like him feeling unloved is worse,
That's true.
you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but it is like the height of irony that the whole message of this movie is about second chances
Yeah, that
and
is.
finding love, loving people that are flawed. And
Mm-hmm.
the way that Hallmark treated this movie
Mm-hmm.
is just absolutely they should be ashamed of themselves for how they treated this movie because they didn't even have literally not a poster.
Mm-hmm.
Not a poster. I mean,
Let's see if it's still on
I
the
am
website.
surprised that they even aired it. I really, really am. I thought that we would get a well, they wouldn't even give an announcement because it's Hallmark. It just I thought it just all of a sudden wouldn't be airing.
Air. That's what I thought too.
Yeah,
Or
I
I thought it would
really
go straight to Hallmark Plus.
yeah, I could see that too. And not a single promo, not a single literally graphic,
Picture.
not
Yeah.
one graphic. If you looked it up, it was just a summary on the website. And you
If
would
it's still.
think that Eric Mabius had murdered somebody. Like you
Yeah.
really would. I mean,
Mm.
I am not defending.
Yeah, it's
I'm
still.
not. I'm. Is
I
still
can't
just
you can't see it. It's still the green sign seal delivered to the moon and back, and it says airing Wednesday, April 30th.
yeah.
Like
So you
no.
so like we won't get into this too much, but basically he was in an altercation at a bar. He was charged with resisting arrest and battery. This was in February, and it was all announced on TMZ and everything like that. I've watched the video of at least
Mhm.
the camera of the bar. So
Mhm.
obviously I didn't see the arrest, I didn't see everything. I watched it and I thought, did a crime even happen here? This seemed
Yeah.
extremely tame for I I don't know. I was just like, I can't even believe that from what I could see, and again, I wasn't there, so like it's only from the video, but it just looked like a nothing thing.
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe that like all of this fuss was made from like what seemed like a fairly mundane bar fight.
Yeah. Mhm.
Like
I
there's it's not like there's a video of Ezra Miller where he literally pushes down a woman onto the and throws her down onto the ground at a bar that
oh
he got
yeah.
arrested that they got arrested for. And like that is kind of shocking. You watch that and there was nothing on that level in my opinion from what
Mhm.
I could see from this altercation. And
Mhm.
to think that they would use that, which I would be shocked if he gets anything above like community service, maybe has to pay a fine.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of fun.
Yeah, this is not like I don't know. It's just like this is not a huge deal. Like I'm sure it's a
Mhm.
traumatic thing in his life, and he obviously has some issues that he's dealing with, but it's not like it was a crime against a child or, like
Mhm.
something bigger. Like people are going to compare it to the Lori Laughlin thing,
Yeah,
which
other
is
people have seen. Yeah.
I mean, I guess like the thing about the Lori Laughlin thing is that it was a non-violent crime.
Mhm.
There was no
Mhm.
physical altercation. It was
That's true.
a white
Mhm.
collar crime, but it at least was a felony. There is absolutely no way this is a felony.
I think it's still listed as a misdemeanor, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, if I don't know, like it just, at least that was like again, a felony. It was like
Yeah.
a bigger thing. And so I can see them like pulling the last garage sale mystery, not really promoting that, taking her out of When Calls the Heart. I could see it, especially at the time, but I don't know. This just seemed like such nothing sauce, and it's not even like I don't even think that the garage sale mystery comparison is good because she is the like by far the lead in
Mhm.
that series. Where this is an ensemble, you
Yeah, like
know.
and none of the actors like were doing any sort of like interview or like anything.
Yeah,
Like,
like you could have easily done some promos that have him maybe towards the back or with the other actors. It's an ensemble and I guess it kind of ticked me off because I just feel like that first of all that's just like such a judgment and such an overreaction and I feel like they should have more humanity towards somebody who has worked so long and done so much for their brand and
mhm.
also that they for the fans and for the postables that they should I'm talking about the bare minimum like have a
Mhm.
poster
Yeah, at least a
like
poster and a
what
website.
it's just I don't know it just was frustrating.
What a way for it to end, though. I think it
Ah,
truly is like the end, like no big like send off, you know.
yeah, it's such a bummer because I hate it when that happens. Like I loved the show Kim's Convenience. I don't know if you ever
Hmm.
heard of that show. It
I
was
heard of that. Yeah.
so funny, so heartwarming, and it's such a like wonderful like family show. I mean, it's not family content; it's a little bit more PG-13, but just in since it was about a family, and I just loved the show. But then the last season, the writers quit, and there was all this contention, and it was just like, oh, that was such a bummer way for it all to end out, It's like, oh.
That's like
So I feel like that was kind of similar here.
it's not on the same scale. Like, did you ever watch Chasing Life on ABC Family
I
Freeform?
remember hearing about that. Yeah.
And it was so good. Like, and it just ended like after the second season. Like, no, like it ended on like a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And then they announced that it was canceled. I'm like, I've been so invested in this TV show.
I mean, there's not a human being on the planet that would somehow judge Hallmark or think that they're like endorsing violence or something like that. If they just came out and be like, we understand Eric's going through a tough time, we respect the legal process, whatever. They just made some, statement and then like had a poster for their movie. There is not a person in the world that would be like, that's kind of, I'm judging Hallmark for that. That's absurd.
I'd love to know who was the person who decided this is the way.
It was, I don't know. I think that's ridiculous. And I mean, I'm not even kidding. If Eric is looking for a place to share his side of the story, will he be, with some humanity? I'd be more than happy to talk to him. And I appreciate
he was live tweeting the movie.
Yeah, he was live tweeting them. I mean, the actors did what they could, and they had Martha Williamson that she came out, the writer Martha Williamson, she came out on Instagram. She said, I just wanted to share a special message to all of our dear Postable fans. The signed, sealed, delivered. I wanted to say thank you for all of your years of love and support and patience and prayers, and for believing in the message. You've always trusted the timing, and I'm happy to say it's time to deliver another movie, maybe a little later than expected, but as usual, maybe it's coming right on time. So she said that. And so I think she says it's about making a mistake, finding forgiveness, believing in healing and the power of second chances. And she says this may be the best movie we ever made.
Oh,
yeah. And the one that matters the most. And you got to feel like there is some like double meaning there about,
definitely.
For sure. And so that's probably as much of a goodbye that we'll probably get.
Yeah.
So anyway, y'all can comment in the comment section about this if you feel that maybe you disagree with us. Maybe you think Hallmark was right to like hold back, maybe you think it was a mistake. So let us know in the comments. Let's talk about it.
Welcome to the Pilot Podcast. My name is BJ.
And my name is Me Too. And we promise this promo is worth it, so please don't skip ahead.
We're two judgy friends who put our judgmental skills to work for you. We review the pilot episodes of new and popular shows and shows that our listeners request to answer your question, should I watch this?
Look, a lot of us are spending a lot more time at home, and yes, we should be reading and trying new projects and enriching ourselves, but does anything beat binging a great show?
Let us take the guesswork out of deciding what your next show will be. Tune in to The Pilot Podcast at thepilotpodcast.com.
Let's dive into the nuts and bolts of this film. So it starts out with your sort of shy background singer watching. There's this country music singer, Nate Holloway. Good name, I feel like.
That is a good name.
Yeah. And at first I thought she was mailing the letter to Maya Angelou, but it was just a Maya Angelou stamp.
Yeah.
She's writing this letter, and then she leaves. But the letter gets like hidden behind the bar. So it never really goes anywhere. So then we get 5 years later, and this club is completely changed. And now it's Ramon's club.
Yeah.
And so it used to be the Star Makers Club, and that's where they find they finally find this letter. And so that's kind of where it starts. And I liked, again, I thought the letter was pretty strong. The whole letter plot in this one is, I would say it might be one of the best. It was a good plot. I liked it because not only did it bring in a lot of different characters and provide a lot of different stops. along the way.
Yeah.
Like it was this one really felt like a true mystery,
It did.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
But it also like kind of brought up some nice conflict, moral conflict
Oh yeah.
for our postables, particularly Oliver, of how he
To
is
handle
going to
it.
treat people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is he going to be the letter of the law guy, which of course he has been, or is he going to show mercy?
That's true.
You know,
That was a good one for him for
it was
this
good, and
episode.
I can't think of that many letters that have really done that.
Mm-hmm.
Been both a good story and a good mystery, and personally really challenged
Mm-hmm.
the postables.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I think it was good in that sense. And and the the writer, she talks about you, me, and the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that when Oliver says, well, I certainly enjoy a good moon metaphor.
Yeah, that was cute.
That's good. And we find out that both Shane and Rita both pregnant,
Wow.
while also Rita and Norman have the adopted baby coming.
Mm-hmm.
How do
4
you?
babies.
Yes. Oh, wait, what's it? What's the fourth one?
Charlie's baby.
Oh, I didn't think of Charlie's baby.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you count that as one too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So how did you feel about that? Because I know there were some people who were like, they're too old, or like what did you think?
I didn't really need the pregnancy
Uh-huh.
storyline. Like I like the adoption storyline for Rita and Norman,
Mm-hmm.
and so I didn't really need them to be pregnant too.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really, I didn't really assume that necessarily that Shane is the same age
Mm-hmm.
as Kristen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, so I didn't really, when she announced she was pregnant, I didn't really think, oh, she's 50.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like she could be 45 for all I know. She could be 43. Like, yes, older pregnancy, but not like unheard of.
Yeah. Geriatric pregnancy as that
Yeah,
lady
it
as
is technically a geriatric pregnancy, but not like, I mean,
old.
50 would be very unusual.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Mm-hmm.
heard I've heard my
I've heard.
my grandma knew somebody, I think she thought that she was going into like menopause,
Uh-huh.
and then she goes in and finds out she's
Oh
pregnant.
wow.
Can you imagine?
Wow. I can't imagine. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's not unheard of, but
Mm-hmm.
unusual. But I guess that's the way I looked at it, is like, I don't necessarily think that she's the exact same age as Kristen.
Yeah, I think there may be it was set in the first part of the movie was 2015, so it's 2020 technically.
Oh, did it say that?
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
forgot that. But and I'm sure that there are postables who would be able to bring up some, oh, they said her age at this in this
Yeah.
movie at this time, or this, so
I'm
I'm
gonna
sure.
guess mid 40s. Like,
Yeah, I just didn't, I I haven't fine-tooth combed these movies like so many of
yeah,
them
me
have.
too.
So it didn't seem crazy to me, but I didn't need it like you're saying.
Yeah.
Like I would have been fine with them just being a happy couple,
Or them adopting too.
or
That would have been
adopting.
sweet
Yeah.
too.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, especially that would have been interesting with, with this whole arc of him reconciling with his father, who's not
Yeah.
his birth father, like him
Mm-hmm.
becoming a non-birth parent would have been kind of poetic,
Yeah, it would.
you know? So,
But
anyway.
With Rita and Norman, so like my mom and my dad, when they were waiting to have me and my brothers,
Mhm.
they were signing like adoption paperwork, filling out adoption paperwork,
Oh my
and then they found out
gosh.
they were having triplets. My mama
Triplets.
goes like,
That's amazing.
I gotta pull the adoption paperwork out now. Like we gotta stop this now."
Wow, that's
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just natural, right?
They did artificial,
Oh, okay.
but
Yeah.
it wasn't IVF or anything.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Still to have, that's
Yeah.
incredible. My cousin, she had triplets.
Mm-hmm.
triplets and twins.
Oh
Isn't
wow.
that amazing?
That's
Yeah.
cool.
She had 5 children in like 2.5 years.
Yeah.
3 years,
Yeah,
something like that.
they had 3 miscarriages, so I told my mom, like, say you have 6 children, and
Wow. Yeah, your dad must have died when
yeah, I think, yeah. My mom said the first thing my dad said was college. Like,
Yeah, wow.
hmm
But it was fun. Like it was a nice sort of comic relief, particularly Rita with all that food.
yeah. I did think that was funny though that Shane was having all these adverse like symptoms and stuff, and then
Mhm.
like Rita was like wanting to eat everything, and Shane was like can't eat anything. So that was funny.
Yeah, yeah. We also have the other comic relief for this episode is you have them wanting to renovate, restore the
Hmm
house for a postal museum,
Yeah.
and Norman wants him to hire his cousin.
hmm
And that was pretty funny. I enjoyed
Yeah.
that.
So many cousins
So
for
many
Norman.
cousins. That made me laugh.
I would love to see the
Hans, the
Postable.
architect.
Yeah, I would love to see the museum though. That would be. I wish
Yeah.
we could. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's funny because it's like this beautiful, the whole point of putting the museum in the beautiful house is because it's a
hmm
beautiful old house. Like, why would you want to
Yeah.
completely reinvent the house? Like
hmm
Hans says, they want to reinvent the house.
hmm
That
I do
was
love
funny.
meeting all of Norman's family.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. It was good.
hmm hmm
And I thought they did a pretty good job staging the whole concert and
Yeah,
making it feel pretty real. Like it felt
realistic for that.
like a
Yeah.
pretty good movie star to me.
hmm
Or not movie
hmm
star, singing star.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
I
guy they got was pretty hunky to play him.
yeah, and the tour bus.
Hmm.
I did like
Yeah.
that it was like she was writing the songs and he was
Hmm.
still contacting her
Yeah.
even
Because
though
he at the very beginning he kisses her and he is like really taken with her. He loves her, and then she's hiding, and he's still like smitten
hmm
all these
hmm
years later.
Oh.
And she keeps sending him songs, and each of her songs becomes like a huge hit.
hmm
And but she gives a different PO box to send
Yeah.
for each of the songs to send the money to and everything like that.
And decoded in the letter somehow.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Hmm
So I mean, again, it was an actual mystery, which
hmm
was nice.
Yeah, I like that
And
they didn't they weren't able to find who the sender was. They had to like
yeah,
really
they really
investigate.
did.
Hmm
And they go to the like first I thought the whole movie was going to be basically like them going on the road trip to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And I thought that was going to be everything, and it really was it was only one part. There was quite a
Yeah,
bit
I
in
did too.
this. Yeah.
It did a lot happened. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. And then
Didn't they do a full road trip movie? Yeah, that was fun.
yes,
That
which one was that one called? I like that one.
Me too. I was trying to think of the
Um,
name. I'm not very good at remembering the titles.
yeah.
I remember the plots. I
Home
don't remember
Again,
the
is that
time.
one Home Again or The
I
Road Less
think
Traveled?
the road less traveled.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the one. Road Less Traveled. Yeah, that
hmm
one was a good one. I liked that one.
hmm
Yeah.
hmm
So then we have that so he sends her cash, sends it to a different PO box, and they say, "You still carry a torch for the one girl you can't have."
Oh,
And I did like how they kind of needled their way into like meeting this guy. That was
yeah,
pretty
that was
fun.
cute. Uh-huh. Like
I,
only Shane would come up with that idea.
yeah, that was pretty good. And then we also have uh, the scene where Oliver's telling Joe about the baby,
Hmm
which was very sweet.
Yes.
Yeah, very very sweet. And that's when he gets the box
hmm
from his birth father, So his mother and birth father had an affair, and he was the result of it. And that's also part of the reason why Joe didn't tell. Didn't want him to feel any kind of like
resentment
thing about his mom, I think.
Yeah. And I can and poor Joe had to live with this his whole, like, raising Oliver by himself, and it's not your biological child, but that, bless his heart.
And at first, Oliver can't open the box because he's very like bitter and very upset at. I forgot to write down the name of his dad. Really bitter about it. He doesn't know to open the box, but he feels very conflicted.
No, I get that.
Yeah. And then we have he finally does. And there's 43 letters in the box. And so basically one for kind of every big like moment in his life.
And didn't Shane say something about like your Joe wrote you letters too, or something like that?
Yes. Yeah, I have read that in my notes. So Joe's letters, which because they had an estrangement for 15 years. And so, she says, you didn't read Joe's letters.
Yeah. That's got a sting too.
Yeah. And it says, Harry Schmidt gave you life, but Joseph O'Toole gave you everything.
Oh.
So that was nice.
Yeah.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, Hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
Of this new identity, they decided to go to Cheyenne to try to find this PO box that they always have. And then they have I liked that snarky woman at the mailbox place.
Yeah, that was funny.
It was good. It was funny.
They pulled out their badges.
Yeah. So Tracy adopted an identity. And so they're spying on Tracy. She says, this is my worst nightmare coming true, Shane says. So
I get.
But they're just trying to find out who she is, where she is. They're trying to see her getting this particular mailbox. And then they follow her. They see her singing to this woman in a wheelchair. And they were like,
okay, she drove in with the handicap van.
Yeah. And so they're like, Tracy, we need to have a talk. Basically,
what a shock.
Yes. So her dad gambled and robbed a bank. And then her mom was viewed as an accomplice, even though she didn't really have anything to do with it.
And I'm sure if they went to this is what kind of bugged me about it. If they went to the police and told them, like, okay, like, even though I did drive the car, like, I had no way. Like, I didn't know.
So here's the interesting. So I looked it up. The difference between being an accomplice and being an accessory. So if you are accused of assisting someone in the planning or execution of a crime, either before or during the crime, or if you help someone to avoid the law after committing a crime, you can be charged with a crime yourself, either as an accomplice or an accessory. An accessory means assisting or aiding someone who has committed a criminal act without directly participating in its commission. An accomplice actively joins the crime companion to commit it together. Some key factors differentiate accessories from companions, such as knowledge and intent. An accessory might know about the criminal activities, but not intend to engage in helping afterward, such as concealing evidence or providing false alibis. By contrast, an accomplice combines both knowledge and intent for criminal behavior. So I think that she would probably be liable as an accessory, and not really for her being in that car when he comes out of robbing the
But running
bank,
away.
but because she hid it for so long, that's the aiding and abetting.
That's true.
That's
I didn't think about it like that.
Concealing evidence, providing false alibis. So I think that actually the hiding, she would be
That's true. Because they were actively looking
accessory.
Yeah, that's true.
But the law takes all different, not that I'm some expert on the law, but takes a lot of different things into account. So the fact that she has been an outstanding citizen and this was a one-time offense, I would imagine that she probably would not get a strong punishment.
That's true.
I would imagine that she would probably get something like community service, pay a fine, something like that.
Yeah. We need the other movie to find out.
Yes. So
fan fiction, right there.
Yeah, like I highly doubt that they're sending this woman
to federal prison.
To prison for this. I highly doubt it. But it does present a conflict because they're not done solving the thing of the letter. This is why it's a good letter. They can't just give it to her because the letter's not technically to her. It was
that's
written
true.
by her, not to her. And so they have to give it to the mother, but she doesn't know where the mother is because they cut off contact because they're afraid. And so they say, was the last place you remember seeing her? Because it's likely she's not going to stray that far because she's still going to want to be somewhere where it's possible for you to find her. So that was really smart on their part.
Yeah, that was smart.
You know?
I like that.
Yeah. And we also do get some like health concerns for Shane, elevated glucose, and just a little, because obviously, like the older you are, the more risks you do have as a woman. But preeclampsia is like a big concern.
And just gestational diabetes.
Yeah. Gestational diabetes. And so, that's concerning. And we get more conflict between Oliver and Joe. And Joe says, writing a few pieces of advice and sticking them in a box doesn't make you a father. Being a father is about being there.
Oh.
Yeah. So I do think he should have given him at least some of the letters. At least or at the very least let him know about their existence. Once he had, but then
the letters.
He didn't want to tell him, about,
because that was before he knew. That was before he even told Oliver that he wasn't his biological dad.
Yeah, because he didn't tell him until recently, fairly recently. So I don't know. It's a tricky thing, and what his mother would have thought, what she would have wanted would be interesting if she was still alive. But I can understand both sides.
I do too.
So
as a kid, you want to know about your parent, but then as a parent, you don't want to hurt your kid,
Yeah. And then we find out. So they go to they find the church where the mother is, and she has a whole new identity. And she says that that my past and my future seem to be colliding. And once I've never been this scared before. Can't believe you're used to living with that kind of fear every day.
Yeah. Bless her heart.
Yeah. Is that right, Camille? Like, oh, that she knows. Oh, and he tells her, I legally am required
Have to,
to turn
yeah.
you in,
Mm-hmm.
or I could be tried for obstruction of justice and lose my
Mm-hmm.
job.
Mm-hmm. That
And
dilemma.
there's this big gala thing coming up for the church.
Mm-hmm.
And she asked Camille, this mom, give me 6 more weeks. So
Mm-hmm.
for my daughter. And Oliver says, I gave her a chance. And Shane says, I knew you would. That's who you are.
Oh, yeah, that was sweet.
You know?
Of course he
And
would.
yes. Because I mean, that's one of the sort of great moral questions of
Mm-hmm.
of mercy versus justice,
Mm-hmm.
right? And most people of faith believe in obeying, honoring, sustaining the law.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole thing of the when Jesus would talk about like the prodigal son, who was the one that showed love, right? The one
Right.
the one who was compassionate and showed
Mm-hmm.
mercy. And he
And
says,
not just judgment.
give unto Caesar what is Caesar, give unto God
Mm-hmm.
what is God's.
Yeah.
And so there's it's a tricky
It is
situation
very tricky.
for Oliver, which I liked. I thought that made this good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
And
especially knowing now about like Eric's,
yes,
he made it even more
it does kind of add a
powerful.
level. It really
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
does. Yeah.
So it's crazy, but like the timing did work out perfectly with when they aired the movie, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely, for sure. And I could see how it would be quite comforting because we are all flawed human
Mm-hmm.
beings. Like whether we've done something criminally, I mean, that's why we need Jesus. That's why we need
Yeah,
salvation is we're all
sin
flawed.
and falling short.
Yes, we're all falling short. And so that was a good character arc for Oliver. And it says, you are someone who believes in people and second chances. You are my husband and my hero.
Oh,
It was really nice.
I love that Shane was the good angel on his shoulder during
Mm-hmm.
this. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And this is when we get the Harry Schmidt gave you life, but Joseph O'Toole gave you everything.
Mm-hmm. I'll have to
Really
use that for
good.
my mom. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. Um, and he says there's no letter for what to do if something happens to Shane or how to be a
Oh,
good dad. And that was really, he says that
I
to
did.
Joe.
I love that scene, and like he's talking to Joe about all that, like
Yeah.
as a dad.
Yeah. The babies don't come with instructions. And I like it when you did Oliver O'Toole's Guide for Raising a Postal Prodigy.
That was cute.
Yeah. Really good. And it kind of, I mean, my favorite postable movie is the Christmas one. It might be my
Yes,
favorite Hallmark movie
I
ever.
think that's like in a league of its own,
It
like that
really,
Christmas movie.
oh, really good. And when you think about the arc with him with that Christmas tree and the angel,
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
and everything that Oliver goes through there, and you think of like
Mm-hmm.
now when you have this context of his his childhood, like it just
Yeah.
adds
Oh,
like another
so much
layer to
depth.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Oh, so good.
Now I gotta go
So
watch that movie again.
yes, it really might be my favorite
Mm-hmm.
Hallmark Christmas movie. I was on the Screen Drafts, we did a Hallmark episode. I was really lucky to be able to be on their show, and I considered
Mm-hmm.
having that
Adding
be
that
my
one.
number one pick, but they were like, because it's a series and whatever, and I get that. But and can it stand on its own? I think it can, but I did put it out there as my number
Mm-hmm.
one
Mm-hmm.
pick. But um anyway, so Shane tells Tracy that about the way they about her mom, everything.
Mhm.
They bring her to the gala to meet her
That
mother
was
and
sweet.
sister. Very sweet, very touching. And then Ramon gives the speech, which was nice. Let us go back in time to Star Makers.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. And they cheer on Tracy / Lily, I guess was her actual
Mhm.
name.
Lily.
And then they said the singer sings because she has a soul.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that she got to sing.
Yeah, she sings and then Nate is there.
Mm.
Yeah.
And watching her.
It was really nice. Yeah.
Mhm.
It was very
I love
good.
how the book and the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then so the mom is gonna confess and she's gonna turn herself in and everything, and I would imagine just gonna slap on the wrist.
Mhm. The van thing, or was it an SUV? I can't remember now.
Mhm.
The big black vehicle waiting in the
Oh yeah,
yeah.
right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, and then we get our toasting the yoo-hoo
Oh,
enchanting glasses.
the baby's coming.
Yay! And the adopted baby is being born, so they're
Mm-hmm.
going. And then this is the sort of the goodbye that we get. I love us. I
Mm-hmm.
love all of us.
That was sweet.
Yeah, it was really nice. So I would give this one like 4.5 crowns.
Mm-hmm. I was saying 4. It was solid.
Yeah, it was. It was really solid. I mean, I'm kind of bummed that they said goodbye twice, and now this is if this
It
is
really is ironic. I didn't think about that until someone brought it in our chat. How
yeah.
how it was. We had 2 endings, and then now
Yeah.
this.
But let us know what you think. And like we said, our friends over at Deliver Me a Podcast, they will do more of like the deep dive of like all the little things that the
Mm-hmm.
postables are going to notice. And this is a little more cursory, I think, a little more
Yeah.
talking about the themes and all of that. So you definitely want to check out their episode. But
We're fans, but we're not super fans. Like,
yeah, exactly. Well, let us know what you think of the movie, how many crowns you'd give it, how do you feel about how Hallmark treated it, and yeah, maybe you're more optimistic about the future of the
mm-hmm.
Postables than I am certainly. But it's been a great show, and I've really enjoyed it, and so I feel grateful for all that we got. I really do,
Yeah,
and
all the movies were solid. So
yeah. So again, let us know what you think. And Caroline, where can people find you?
on Twitter at Meet a Caroline R.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also, make sure you're following the podcast, Hallmarkies Pod, Hallmarkies Podcast, all over social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We really appreciate that because that helps the algorithm. For the more ratings and reviews, 5 stars especially, that are on there, the more it's going to pull for us when people are searching. So please take a few seconds, put in those reviews, those ratings on iTunes, and then also on YouTube. If you're watching and listening on there, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel. We are getting closer and closer to 10K subscribers, and most of our viewers on YouTube are not subscribers. So if you're in that camp, please hit subscribe, because again, it helps the algorithm so much. And if we can get up to that 10K, it'll really help push us to the next level, which will help us to be able to make more content and just be a better podcast and be able to make more cool stuff that you all like. So that can be a really amazing way to help the podcast. And then we also have our patron group, which is if you want to take it to another level and get to be part of our watch alongs and our Q&As, other fun things going on. We have bonus episodes. We have our patron polls where you get to vote on what we are going to be talking about, all of that fun stuff, and our Facebook group. Please check out the Patreon. And then the merch store. We have tons of fun Postables inspired merch at the merch store. So you definitely want to check that out for all of your Postables desires there. We would sure appreciate it. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.